Hello, you beautiful rejects. How's it going? Welcome back to Rejection and Reflection with yours truly, Gustavo Victor Carr. Today, I have a guest that goes way back. I should say way.
Way,
Okay,
way.
let's go way
We
back.
might be able to add another way back then. Back then.
We could put a little square above it. I mean,
Exactly.
it goes. I was actually doing research on it right now, trying to find the exact year, and I'm going to say it's 1991.
Oof. That won't surprise me. That won't
Yeah,
that won't surprise me.
we well, we've crossed paths many times. I guess I should start because I'm feeling it right now. But Tim, you have shown up for me. I'm getting emotional. So many times in my life, including right now. And I just want you to know, if I haven't said it enough, I am just so grateful to you.
No, that's very.
It starts by him booking me out of a job when I was 10 years old. One of many things that he's been so helpful for. But we'll start there just because I think people are like, what do you mean? I've known Tim since 1991, essentially.
Yeah.
Were you the choreographer?
I was the assistant choreographer to Susie Miller on Susie Miller on, was it the Thalen's Ball? Yeah. And
Yes.
it was honoring Whoopi Goldberg at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel.
Yes.
Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Yeah, the Century.
Is it Century or is it one of
Yeah,
those places?
yeah.
Yeah.
I have vague memories, but I did research it to make sure that I was like, because all these years you would think I would know. I finally figured it out. Basically, it's an award that was cultivated and curated by Walt Disney himself to give to anybody in the industry that has done great work on screen and off screen. So literally every legend, essentially, that's been going on for 60 years has received a Mr. or Miss Wonderful award. And that year it was Whoopi Goldberg being presented to the award. And Tim was the associate choreographer for me presenting the award. Goldberg, which just every time I think about it at my age, I'm like, my mind is blown. It was such an incredible experience. It's the first time that I got to go into a recording studio for a whole little rap. And the reason I figured out it was 1991 is because I remember the rap a little bit. It was something like, ladies and gents, hold on to your seats. Get ready to the sound of a funky beat. Welcome, one and all to the 31st annual Thalians Ball. I think it was the 31st. That's what sounds right. So 91 has to have been the year.
It's been a while.
And also, you were an associate choreographer there. When did you start dancing professionally?
Honestly, my dance career I started really late. I used to take a bus. I was going to school in the Valley, and I would take a bus. I live in LA, from Sun Valley all the way to LA, like by LA High. And one of the bus stop that I had to get off on to change the bus was over on Van Nuys. No, I'm sorry, on Vineland and Ventura, where the original Mora Landa studio was, and that's where Joe Tremaine's studio was.
Yeah.
At that particular time, and I would always hear music, and that's always got me into the music. So I would go stand and watch the class, and people start talking to me, and I'm like, I remember one day this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, how come you don't take? How come we always see you here? How come you're not in class?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't dance, and and I can't afford it." Ultimately, it was Joe Tremaine. He saw how much I loved being in the dance in the dance environment.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm Joe Tremaine, and you are more than welcome to come and take the classes anytime you want. So basically, that kind of started me, and that was pretty late as for a dancer. That was in 86, 87, maybe. So that was the start of it.
You started taking class, and then how did that like transition into you like working in associate choreography and choreographing?
You know what? I think working as a the term ignorant is bliss.
Absolutely.
I'm the king of ignorant is bliss.
Hmm.
My first class that I walked into, aside from Joe Tremaine, was Jackie Slight 3/4 dance class, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was completely have no idea what I was doing, but you can't tell me that I didn't know what I was doing
100%.
at all. So I went in there, and and I was watching class. I was doing. I was like, oh, I could figure that out, and I would go home and play around a little bit, and I would come back and watch it again and start doing it, and I kind of had a knack for it, and so that was kind of where it was until one day Jackie Flight said, okay, you're going to learn how to move. So going across the floor, Jackie said, Dave Carter, her ex-husband, who's probably at that time was like, what, a foot taller than me. It's like, if he get across the floor before you do, you're out of the class. That day, I learned how to use the floor. That day, I learned how to use the floor.
Wanted it that bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, and it's motivation. It's all, a lot of it. It's just like anything else. It's like how much you want it.
Yep.
You know, and I wanted it, but I didn't realize I wanted it that bad. You know?
Yeah.
Because I would go home, I would stretch. I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm down. My split is a little bit lower today, a little low today. And then like, oh shit, it's a little, you know, I'm sore. So I'm a little, you know, I'm not getting as much of a stretch. And then so I did that, and then I found out that there was a dance studio close to my house called Rainbow Connection, which was Kim Fields' mom's dance studio.
Oh.
So I went. I used to go take classes there, and you know, just play around, played around.
Did you find the love of dance from just hearing it and like seeing it, or did you watch like music videos, or like did you follow any culture of dance before this?
Well, you know, the whole thing is like, you know, it's just like everybody. You know, you watch the Michael Jackson video, you watch Janet Jackson's video, you watch Madonna's video, you watch all the, you know, everything. And then at my high school, there's always a lunch dance. We always have a DJ coming in, and we would be in a quad and we'd be dancing, and I was always intrigued by it.
Mm.
You know, and then I was like, and I went and joined a dance club. Just don't know what I was doing. My my dance teacher, the Mrs. Doman, she was the dance teacher at the high school, at Polytechnic High School, and she was a Polynesian dancer. So we learned how to make poi balls, and we learned how to do the poi. We learned how to, you know.
Yeah.
So we did, you know. So it's kind of like all over the place. Everything was like all over the place. So
that's,
you know. So I think I got introduced to a lot of different style right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah.
Especially being in Los Angeles, that was definitely accessible. I didn't know that we had that in common all these years, because I don't know if you know, but I didn't. When you booked me on that job, I had never taken dance class in my life, because I was self-taught from Michael and Janet and Paula, and Madonna. Yeah. I didn't know we had that in common. Usually people that, you know, had a career like us, they were already at Tremaine when they were younger, and were already in dance studios, and they were trained technically in all those things. You and I were like, no, but we gonna do this shit.
Yeah, we gonna figure out how to do this.
We gonna figure it out because we like
it. It's like, wait, kick, ball, change. I'll kick and I'll ball change. I'll do whatever needs to be done to get it done.
Further than the person that is a foot taller than me. Finding
exactly, you know. Yeah. So that's kind of what it was, and then I think my ignorance that was the my superpower. Yeah. You know, and I remember Danny Lee choreographed a concert in Atlantic City for a Hong Kong superstar, and this is me being dancing for like maybe a year, less than a year, and I saw, you know, they used to put a little flyer at the dance studio looking for da 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 da. I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna pull it out and I'm gonna call him up, and I said, hey, are you looking for Asian dancers for this thing? He's like, well, I am looking for Asian dancers, and I went in and I thought it was okay, but I booked the job, so I'm like, okay, cool. So next thing you know, it was just after graduation, so we went to Atlantic City for a few days to do that, and that was my first job ever. And then, you know, and you kind of just meet the choreographers, meet the teachers, and you became friends with the teachers, and they see what you can do, And when I was working and I was taking class with Susie Miller. She used to teach over at Debbie Reynolds Studio F. And we just started doing it, and she's like, "Hey, you want to work with me on this thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go."
And that's how we came to be.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That was 91. Yeah, I'm like, damn, okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
The ignorance bliss thing is so. The older I get, the more I actually try to tap back into that.
Yeah.
Because there's such freedom.
It is.
Space. It takes you out of any kind of pressure. There's just that definitive knowing that you are going to accomplish, regardless of any type of obstacle or any thought that might get in the way.
I mean, and for me, it's like the thing that people say is like, when you're a kid, you jump, you roll, you tumble, you do whatever you want because you don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's like, and then once you become when you're aware of the fear, that's when it hinders you.
Yes.
So now it's like, I always tell people, it's like, don't let that fear, being, I guess, not in lack of a better term, as RuPaul says it, to be your saboteur.
100%.
And I still take that all the way to this, being a makeup artist now. Mm-hmm. And I still take the discipline that I had from the dance world into what I do now,
Yeah. So I guess I'll kind of go back. I'll get to that then, because essentially then you and I then met again when I was older and like, I guess of age, like in my 20s, maybe 18, 19, 20, whatever. But because I saw you taking dance class at the Edge, because you were still taking class. Do you still take class?
Not as much as I need to, not as much as I want to. There you go. That's the term, want to.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of one of those things. It's like the way I got into the makeup part of it, it was like I injured my lower back, so I had to go through a recovery process. And while I was doing that, and as a dancer, when you don't go take classes, back in the days when we go take classes and we go 4 classes a week, 5 classes a week, and when you go take like 4 classes a week, 5 classes a week, and when you finish a job, you go after your job to go take class, even though you've been dancing all day, and out of that sheer boredom, there used to be a pamphlet that comes to my house called Learning Tree University. It was just a trade school. And I looked at photography and I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun. I'm like, ooh, the camera is about $1,000 and there's going to be film and then the lab fee. And I was like, I can't afford it. So I saw makeup and I was like, you know what? That might be fun. It kind of intrigues me a little bit when I'm on set. Somebody just put some powder on me and whatever, but so I went and took that and that was it. So that's how I kind of transit into the makeup world, but didn't really wanted to do it. I think it was just done for the sheer boredom of it,
So essentially injury was your rejection that pushed you into a different space.
It was that, and then also
it was like, you can't do this.
Well, it was that, and then also at the same time, I think it's kind of when you get older, you go, well, I really need to look into the next step in my career, next chapter in my career, in my life, not even career, life, and I went, well, okay, what can I do? What do I want to do? I have friends who are amazing dancers. There's like, no, there's no second choice. There's no what if. I have to do this, otherwise than that. I'm like, I came from the old school where it's like kind of like, you kind of have something there just in case. It's not like, it's not a so I did that and then didn't really do anything with it. And then I went back to Thailand, and I went and did some work in Thailand in front of the camera, and I came back here. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I literally wind up going to what's that extra casting place called again?
Extra casting? I don't.
Went to an extra casting company.
For extras, copy
that. And I went and signed up to be an extra because I was SAG and AFTRA. So I
Yeah.
went and did that, and I literally, everybody's looking for the stars, and I'm knocking on the door and go, "Hi, what's the makeup trailer?" You know,
Yeah.
again, my ignorance, my superpower did that for me.
Hmm.
That I wasn't afraid of rejection, and I think from being a dancer, been rejected so many times, put a tough skin on you, you know,
Hmm.
and and it was one of those situations where I was like, you know what, if you didn't hire me, it wasn't my loss, it's your loss.
That part.
It's your loss, it's not my loss, you know. And and that was it. But at the same time, going back to your old question, after I ranted all the way around, no, it's like I still, you know, I was still taking dance classes. I just doing, you know, just doing for my own enjoyment. And when I'm not worried about having to, um, hopefully that there's a choreographer watching that would book me on a job, and just don't have that ball and chain on me. It was such an amazing experience to dance, and just literally dancing for you versus dancing for somebody else,
Hmm.
you
Well,
know.
well, the funny part of all is like you went into the studio where everybody watching it was somebody that would be hiring you. You
Yeah,
know, that's the craziest part of all. You didn't fall into some random studio in some random place. You went to Tremaine, which
yeah,
was where
I literally, it was like Bilbo, Terry Lindholm, you know,
Marguerite
everybody
Jarrett,
was there. I mean,
Macaroni.
everybody was there, everybody was there, you know. So it was, you know, and again, with me not knowing the dance world, I don't know who those people are.
Totally.
I
Which
always,
was
I
amazing.
yeah, I had no
Superpower.
clue what they, yeah, I had no clue who they were, and I think that was I think that was my personal saving grace. I think because I was able to watch some of the best dancers in the business,
Hmm.
and I was able to learn from them, watching them, and able to take pieces of them and combine it together and give me,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I get chills. Like you're talking about, I'm just having like chills all over my body. Because that's when you know, like, I believe in fate. I believe in destiny. I believe that I say the universe has your back and it's working with you and for you.
Oh yeah.
And so you are supposed to be in that space. And it's
Yeah.
so cool to just hear you talk about it. And I just love that you've always had this energy and this perspective and this heart that just was like, I'm going to do, I'm going to go, I'm going to accomplish,
Mhm.
regardless of your situation. And it probably might be from your background of you basically saying, like, I'm taking buses, I didn't have money, that just gave you
Yeah.
that gave you that fire to be like, I can do anything.
Oh yeah. It's like I watch I think I watch my parents, you know, working 7 days a week. They work at a factory Monday through Friday, and then they come home at 11 midnight, and then they get up at 5 a.m. to go work at the swap meet, you know, and it's 7 days a week. So I was like, there's no such thing as no.
Right.
If you see it, you do it. If you want it, you figure it out, you know. So I think that's kind of being on a poor kid, you
Yep.
know, but you know, and you know, being a poor kid, and having to figure things out. We have to figure our own, you know, our own.
How did you start doing that though? Because there's so many people in this world and they don't figure it out ever.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking shit about them. I'm just saying lots of people don't ever figure it out. It's obviously an innate trait in you that was like, I am going to do you remember when that how or like
I don't think there was ever a moment. I don't think there was ever a moment that I go, oh, that there it is. You know, um, me being born in Thailand, another country, and at freaking 5 years old, I was taking the the
public transport?
public transportation on my own. You know, so we learned to survive way back then, and
Mhm.
so I don't think it's anything that went, oh, there was never, no, it was never an option. You know, so I think that kind of carries it through.
It was your environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You know, and if I was born here in the U.S. and I was raised in the U.S., I don't know if my will would be as strong as it is with me growing up in Thailand. You know,
totally. Yeah.
so yeah,
Well, yeah, it makes sense because it's yeah. Then it's not an aha moment. It's more of like, this is my surroundings. This is the way I have to move. It's how everyone
yeah,
else is moving. So when you come here, it's just second nature,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah. You know, so not
So
talking about all you, not talking shit about all U.S. kids. I'm talking about my experience.
no, I've had a lot of people on here that are not from here, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all extremely successful. And a lot of people they all attribute that to just having to overcome something different. You
hmm,
know, there is so much to be said in that, to
yeah,
be able to have the will to adjust accordingly to your new environment and still have that desire to thrive and to be successful and to push past what you saw your ancestors and your parents doing, essentially. You know, it was that incredible, oh, I get so emotional, I'm such a sensitive person, like that drive from your parents to do what they had to do, like you explained, and for you to see that and be like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
well, you know, you see, just like your mom, you know, just like her. She's, you know, you never knew that you were without anything because she would never allow you to be without.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those situations you watch them to not take care of themselves to make sure that you are taken care of.
1,000,000%.
You know, so you kind at that particular point, that's when you go, oh, okay. So that's where you watch and you learn. That's why kids watch and kids learn. And you know, and you know, and that's you know, and that's is a beautiful thing. You
Yeah.
know.
I attribute a lot of my willpower and my drive to my mom, essentially,
Yeah.
because you know, there's a lot of talk about single family homes being the downfall for youth nowadays, but that was mine. I
Yeah.
was raised by just my mother,
Yeah.
um, and it actually pushed me then because I think because we're artists, we
Hmm.
already have that I call it, I guess, consciousness unlocked in the sense that we see more than is in front of us. So at
Yeah.
a very young age, like you were saying, I was aware that my mom was going above and beyond for me and doing more for me than for herself. And that's inspirational, and that gives you drive then to be great. That's what
Hmm.
pushed me to be like, then I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be booked by Tim and be the one boy, and there'd be 16 girls around me performing to Whoopi Goldberg. You know, like it was her sacrifice and her love
Hmm.
that pushed me to be like, I will be great.
No, yeah. You know, it's like the kids emulate what their parents does, and when you see your parents giving up so much of themselves to make sure that you had what you need, because I'm like, you know, it's like me growing up. I never knew I was poor.
Like, yeah, totally. Likewise. Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew I was poor.
Right.
You know, whatever I want, I had. You know, I mean, it's like it might be it's a new shoes from the which I'm got from the swap meet,
Yeah.
but it was new shoes.
That part.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was new shirt, new whatever I need. It was like, hey mom, I need a new pair of dance shoes. Okay, let's go, let's get it. Yeah.
Are you an only child?
No, I'm not. There's three siblings. I'm the middle of the three siblings. So you know now there's only two of us, but you know it's you know it's they none of us ever felt like we were poor. You know, none of us were we and they did everything they can to make sure that we all knew that we were taken care of.
Sending so much love to your parents right now. I know before this you had mentioned some personal stuff, so that ooh, I can only imagine. You seem so close to them. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to go right now before we both start bawling our eyes out. Um, okay, so then we were dancing together, and then I have been, well, you know, I did my first ever music job with you. Essentially, I was rapping a song with Yeah. So then I got always wanted to do music because I liked writing music and performing. And then I think it was like one of my first videos. You
Yeah.
were already doing the makeup for my idol, Janet Jackson, and you were kind enough to do my freaking makeup.
Yeah, you called and I was available, so I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go. It's like, why not? It's like, it's one of those things. Why not support your friends?
That part.
Why not support your friend? Even, and it is like, I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to achieve my dreams. Why not make sure that to push my friends and push people that towards theirs? If it's just me put powder on your face, putting foundation on your face, whatever it is, whatever little bit I can do to help out, I'm more than willing to help out. And I still do. It's like people are like, oh my gosh, it's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. They're like, how much you want? I'm like, did I ask for money? I didn't ask for anything.
You are a rare breed, though, Tim. You are a rare breed. You've always had that energy.
Yeah, if I love you, I love you hard. I don't. There's no no unconditional. And it's like, hey, let's go. If you want to go do that, let's go.
I can't tell you how many times, even just taking dance class with you, you were pushing me and making me want to be a better person. The heart and resilience, and that you always showed up. And especially back then when I was dancing at that age around you, I was a bit of a diva. So I was definitely not aware of like the heart that you have, but I understood, I was aware of it, but I didn't understand it like I do when you get older,
Yeah, and the most fun I had, one of the most fun I had when I was doing when we were dancing, was we would go take Marty's class at the Dome on the thing, and Marty always pulled people together to dance, kind of battle each other, and I love it because like almost every time he always pull you and I together.
Yep.
And I just love that energy.
Yeah.
I love that energy so much, and it's like, and I miss it, and I miss it. So I'm like, okay, well, I know there's 40 and over classes being taught.
Actually, well, I guess we've done a few now. I don't know if you've seen on Instagram, us old fuckers have been doing I call it a geriatric dance class. I'll let you know the next time we have one.
Call me.
You're always gone, so I think that's probably why I didn't even think about it. But now that we're here right now, it's
exactly.
Kevin,
let's go
together. I will make sure that you are invited to the next one, and if you're here, it would be so much fun.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's like, and it's so funny. A couple of days ago, I went to see the Pink concert. And her song, what was, I don't even know the title of it, and Never Gonna Stop Dancing.
Oh yeah. I don't remember. Yeah.
And I'm like, that song came on, and I started crying. I was like, why am I crying? It's like, I miss dancing.
You need to dance.
Yeah. And I think I was literally on my feet the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, my back hurts. No, I'm still dancing. But it's like, it's fun, and I want to get back into it again. I want to go back into Helene Phillips' class and thrash my body around again. I want to, go to Michael Rooney's class and sail and just want to go. I just miss it. I just miss it.
We just taught, I think, a 40 and over last week.
I think they have one every week, but it just I think Michael teach one every week, at least once a week, and but it's just the family schedule that's the hard part on it. So
I'll let you know ASAP, because we'll do probably another holiday one. It started last year. Holidays. So I'll let you ASAP. So, and I'll let you know, so you have plenty of time to try to work
to make arrangements.
Yeah, because it sounds like it really does sound like your spirit is crying for you to dance again.
It's like I would literally be in a makeup trailer, and I would be doing my ballet bar at the makeup trailer.
That's awesome.
And I would be at the back bar with my leg up, stretching, and my like literally my friends were like crazy about it. They look at me, they're like, oh, there he goes again, legs up on it. I'm like, hey, guess what? I still can, so shut up.
That part. That part.
I'm going to show you a picture real quick. Hold on.
Well, it's so warm in here.
Hello.
I'm like sweating. I got that J-Lo glow. Or J-Lo sweat.
Sweat. And this is what I do. And I when I'm on set, it's always funny because like people always take pictures of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
everywhere you go.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. We were in when I did House of Lies, we were in Cuba. And a group of background were the little girls from the Cuba Ballet. And I start teaching the classes with them, and and it was just, we just had a great time, and it's like, and I also make sure to get my friends into it too, I mean,
amazing.
And it's just like, and that what that does for me is like, anytime I get pissed off at some of my coworkers, I start tandoing, and it just anything just to get my mind frame back.
Shifts you back into a positive headspace.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I know we keep bouncing back and forth because that's just kind of how it goes when you've known someone for so long. But like, how did you get to become this Academy Award winning makeup?
No, not Academy Award, just Emmys.
Oh, sorry. That looked like an Academy. Oh, it's an Emmy. That's not back there?
No, it's not. No.
Oh, well, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. So I'm sorry. I just pushed that into the projected.
It's all right. Well, you know what?
My apologies.
Push it.
I have no doubt.
I still got a few more years to go. So I'm like, hey.
So
it's on my bucket list. I got my two ladies right there. So I just need the gentleman to go right in the center.
That part.
So how like the whole thing is like the rejection and the like for me, we spoke a little bit about kind of like the simpatico of life, like that this things that were meant for you is going to be meant for you. And I remember I was and that's how my whole career has been. And the first time one of my girlfriend I taught makeup, she was 40 something years old, and she's like, I want to be a makeup artist. Like, come on, let's go. I'll train you. And so I trained her to be a makeup artist. And
how did you become? So you just, because of your interest, you started just picking up makeup and you just became naturally good at it?
Yeah. I'm assuming, I mean, it was like, okay, I always had a knack.
Did you go to cosmetology school or anything?
No.
That's amazing.
I went to trade school. I went to trade school to learn how to put makeup on.
Copy.
And so I did that, and I worked on a few things. And then next thing you know, it's like my friend Michelle Lewis, she was like, 40 something. She was doing real estate, and she was so she's like, I want to be a makeup artist. It's like, okay, cool, come on, I'll train you. Cut to, she started working out on her own, and she was doing a low budget film in and they were shooting at the Jim Henson studio on La Brea and Sunset. And I remember I was sitting there in her makeup room, and there was a little magazine, Sophisticated Black Hair, Hype Hair, or one of those hair magazines.
Yeah.
And I remember flipping through it, like, there was Halle Berry, Whitney Houston, Anita Baker, all the 90s chicks, all the 90 girls, Janet, Tina Turner, So I flipped through the whole thing and I closed it. And then something within me told me to put my finger in the book, and I opened it up. And it was a double page spread of Janet Jackson.
Oh.
I looked at my friend. I looked at Michelle. I never claimed anything before in my whole life. And I looked at her and I said, she's going to be my client by the end of this year. And that was it. And that was it. Literally, that was it. That's what it was. And then prior to doing that, TJ Espinoza, he was trying to be a model to go to Japan. So he did a photo shoot. So I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, let's go. So I went and did that, and I thought it was just going to do him. And then next thing you know, I see all these girls coming in. And one of the girls that came in was Kelly Kona, who dances with Janet. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think anything of it. I did her makeup. She's like, oh my gosh, I love the way I look. Great. Next thing you know, About 2 weeks after I opened up that page to the picture of Janet, I got a call from my agent, my dance agent, Teresa Taylor, over at Bobby Ball.
Yeah, we have the same agent.
Yeah. And she said, she was like, Janet Jackson's people called and asking you for your information. I'm like, why are you calling me then? Just give them my information.
Yeah.
So I got a call, and I forgot about I did that photo shoot with Kelly. So, the whole thing happened, and next thing you know, we were talking, and I talked to her manager, and he's like, yeah, Kelly mentioned you to us, and da 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 da, and so that's kind of how that went. And then we were supposed to do. I was supposed to go and do Shawnette's makeup at Janet's house as a trial. Then on a Tuesday and the weekend before, the Friday before, I got a call from Jaime Mendoza. And he said, hey, listen, Janet has a photo shoot with her dancers today. And her makeup artist is sick, and we want to see if you'll be able to come in. I was like, yeah. Sure. Luckily, he called me at like 9 a.m. and then my call time was until like 2 p.m.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I literally grabbed everything I had and I threw in those big suitcases that you used to check into the at the airport.
Yeah.
I brought 2 of those big motherfuckers with me.
Damn. You had
Just
that much
because,
makeup?
huh?
You had that much makeup?
Uh-huh. I don't know what I need. I'm going to throw it in there. And if I don't need it, I don't care. And then on top of that, I want to make sure I'm so prepared. I remember I went over to Broadway department store, and I went to every single makeup counter and bought every single shade that is on a deeper foundation to make sure that I was prepared. So I went in there, and and we did the job, and we did the we went in, and Kathy Hyland, who's her tour makeup previously, came in and did Janet, and I did the dancers. Just to test out on the dancers, and it was great. Everything was fine. And then next thing you know, on the last day, Janet, Jaime Mendoza came up to me and said, hey, listen, Janet wants to find out. I'm like, he was like, come here, let me talk to you for a second. I was like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Why do we always go to that place where it's like we screwed up,
Totally.
And he said, Janet and I were talking, and we want to see. Janet has the One DOS award show that's in Amsterdam, and she's getting ready for her Velvet Rope tour. And we have the Go Deep music video coming up. We have the Soul Train Music Award coming up. We have a bunch of stuff coming up, and Janet wants to find out if you want to work with us in our team, and also to go on tour with us. I was like, hold on, let me check my schedule. I'm available. Let's just go. So that was kind of start of it. That was start of it. And then when we got on tour, I found out that Janet hired somebody else to do her makeup because she saw that the connection between me and the dancers was so tight because we were friends. Nikki, I've known Nikki Pattengrass since she was probably 14 years old. And I've known Kelly, and I've known Sean, So it's like they see the connection there. So she's like, I didn't want to take him away from the dancers and then anything. And then next thing you know, there was a in saying all this, I want to go back to don't rush the universe.
That part. Thank you.
You are going to be there when you're supposed to be there. So pretty much this other makeup artist was there. He did the job. And on the day that we're supposed to have the press viewing of the show, she was 2 hours late. And literally there was a knock on my little makeup room door, and the door opened up and said, this tall Australian man walked in, and it's like, "Hi, Tim. I'm Roger Davies. I'm Janet's manager. Can you come over into her trailer, into her room?" I went, "What did I do now?"
Yeah.
So I walked in there, and there was something going on with her makeup, and there was something going on underneath her eyes on her makeup. That the makeup artist that was hired wasn't skilled to correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't anything. It was just basically he used the wrong product.
Oh.
He used the wrong product and didn't know how to. He messed it up, and he doesn't know how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, and they're like, "Yeah, we need her pretty quick." I said, "No, this is gonna give me 10 minutes." So pretty much all I did was just clean off her under eye makeup, and I just redid her under eye makeup, and I was done. And I told Jan, I was like, "Well, can I do this? Can I do this?" She's like, "No, you can do whatever you need to do." So we did that, got her out on stage, and it was an amazing thing. Right. And then next thing you know, they were like, "Okay." I was like, "Where is he?" The management is like, "Oh, we sent him home." So they brought another makeup artist in, and I thought I was going to be doing Janet at the time, and they brought another makeup artist in for Janet. So again, it wasn't my time.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, the makeup artist who was doing Janet took too long. And as you know, being on tour, your body tears down, and you kind of cannot sit there and getting makeup done for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
So at that point, the shift has been changed. Now I'm doing Janet's makeup, and the other makeup artist doing the dancers. So that's how it. In saying all that, it's like the universe knows when it's time for you to do it. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. And that's how it came to be. And after Janet, Roger was like, and I go over there and I just have a good time. I don't cause any trouble. I do my thing. I was like, I just have fun. And next thing you know, Roger was like, "Yeah, we just signed Cher, and she's going to go on tour. So we want you to come along with us on Cher's tour." So for me, I went from Janet straight to Cher. And then halfway through the Cher tour, I heard that Janet was doing Nutty Professor 2. So
behind you.
Oh, right there. Right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So Janet did Nutty Professor 2. So I called her. I was like, "Hey, do you need me?" So she, we worked it out. We worked it out that I got to do her on the show. So from that, after that, Roger Davies is very much infamous with Tina Turner. Roger Davies was the one who brought Tina Turner back into the world, back in What's Love Got to Do with It days. So
major.
So pretty much the next thing you know, I started designing wigs and doing makeup for Tina Turner for her project. So it's just like everything just started rolling, and I always tell people, it's like, you know what, I'm not the best makeup artist out there, but I think I'm nice to be around. And I think that's, for me, even when I was choreographing, I don't need you to be the best dancer because I could train you to do what I need you to do. Mm-hmm. But I need you to be nice. I need you to be pleasant to be around. That part. I don't care how talented you are. I just need you to be, Yeah. Yeah, because like I know it's like, when I'm choreographing, I'm cutting people out. I'm cutting people off, and they're like, "You just cut so and so," and I'm like, "Yeah." I see how they act in class. I see how they act outside of of work. Mm-hmm. So people forget that I'm always in class, and I don't go around talking about what I do. Yep. So that was that, and then did the touring things and then everything. So it's kind of that's where it's kind of started. It's a big start.
Still going. Yeah. I keep, before I forget, you didn't wait for it to happen to you. You kept showing up. That's
Hmm.
the difference, like when you speak about the universe, like, alignment essentially, right?
Yeah.
The only way you can really be in alignment for the blessings and the opportunities and your life to really be fulfilled is if you show up, right?
Hmm.
And you've continually showed up.
Yeah.
Other people's egos could have gotten in the way when they weren't doing Janet yet and could have had that energy by doing the dancers. And that energy probably would have never translated into you being an open vessel for you to then get into the right door of where you're supposed to be, which was also with Janet. I mean, you were supposed to be with the dancers, of course, too, but just to that next phase and
Yeah.
to fulfilling, I know it sounds weird, but like your prophecy, essentially, like, really being the best version of yourself in your craft.
Oh yeah. No, it's just like, it's like, I was like, as long as I'm doing what I love to do, I don't care what I'm doing it on. I could paint a freaking table. As long as I'm painting at that particular point, I'm fine. But I'm having, it's like, as long as for me, it's like, as long as I'm having a good time, I'm good.
And I think that's why everyone keeps using you, like, because you are a good time, you're dancing, you're lighthearted. And when you are in that position, when you are in front of the camera and you have all eyes on you, you need somebody like you to be around so that you can just feel human and light for a second.
Yeah. And I think a lot of my artists, like now with Danai Gurira and Lupita Nyong'o, and they know I'm not a yes man.
Right.
They know I'm not a yes man.
That part, it is so important. It is so important.
It's like, it's like I just worked with I just finished doing Captain America and worked with Anthony Mackie, and he asked for my opinion about something, and I have to look at him and go, "Are you sure you want it?
That part, yes.
Are you sure you want that opinion? Because it might not agree with your thing. Because if you're looking for me to agree with you, I'm not the person,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
And he's like, okay, I like you, But I think for me, it's like they have as celebrities, actors, singers, whatever you want to do, they have people blowing shit up their ass all day long.
Mm-hmm.
It is like literally there's so much smoke in their ass that as soon as they open their mouth, the smoke just come right out.
Yep.
And it's like, and it's like, be honest, it's like if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's not, and that's just my opinion. Whether you want to keep it, if you want to listen to my opinion or you don't, that's on you.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, that is for sure. And especially in this business, it is far and few to come by, or in between to come by, that you actually can then trust somebody, though, in their opinion. So that speaks so much to who you are and how you show up, that they do hear you. Because a lot of people will say, like, for my own career, I don't like yes people. I don't like yes, but there are a lot of voices that I shouldn't have listened to in my life as well.
But I think that comes with maturity. I think that comes with maturity. That comes with that. I think that comes with learning who you are.
Yes.
And I think a lot of time we're going, oh, this person's been around. This person's a diva, so we know that they know what they're doing. So so I'm going to listen to what they have to say. I'm going to watch them. But at the same time, you're losing who you are as a person in doing that. And I've when I'm in class, I watch people, and it's like, and I always watch people because I don't think a lot of people realize when I was doing the music tour and whatever else, I'm always at that audition, and they're always asking me,
Yeah.
Janet, Pink, whoever it is always asking me, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, like Sean came up to me one at the on the All For You tour and said, what do you think of this person? I was like, I think she's great. And what do you think of that person? I was like,
So you're the reason I didn't get it.
pretty much.
The one person I didn't dance for, that I learned to dance from and I want to dance for, it didn't happen. It wasn't in my cards.
Miss
Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, hey,
All because of Tim. Thank you, Tim. But
exactly.
because you showed up, that's why you've been showing up for me in every other place. I get it.
No, but it's like, it's like it was. No, I fought for you. To be honest, I did fought for you.
Thank you. I know in that
I,
camp some people just didn't like me that much, so I can only I know how that goes.
um,
It's not nice when someone comes into your world and starts taking your jobs from you, and you are still on that age where you can't separate ego from
ego
appreciation.
from, and it's like, it's like, and for me, it's like, if it just, the job is just not meant for me.
That
That's
part.
that's how I've always been.
That part. Yeah. It was funny to me though, because those people were talking about, they were my peers, right? And they didn't like my energy or my mentality because I was the shit and I knew it, but yet they exuded that 10 times. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny when you're at that age, how the things that you dislike, you are just projecting because it's
They're looking at themselves in the mirror through
and
you.
they're hating themselves, but they don't want to hate
They don't
themselves.
want to, but
So
they don't want to admit
you.
it that that's them.
That part. Um,
I see it all. It's like, it's like, I'm like, you don't like that person, but y'all are two peas in a pod.
that part. Yeah.
But it's like, hey, but it was what it was, and nothing,
Yeah, no, I really believe that. I mean, I was talking to Brian Friedman like a month or whenever I saw him, and we were talking about the Janet thing. He had just had Janet at his house, and he was like, "Yeah, that's my Madonna." He's like, "I never danced with Madonna." I was like, "Oh, I booked Madonna. I wasn't able to do it though." But like, point is, there are just some things that are in the cards. I still like when you open the book, I still will work with Janet. It's just going to be a film that I'm created and produced that she's going to be acting, whatever. So it's just about, like you said, it's about timing. It's just
it's all about timing, and it's like,
showing up.
and and it's, and when sometimes I feel like when you're rushing it, you might not get the result that you wanted.
Yeah. And also when you just surrender to the process, those are the things that made me better.
Uh-huh.
I grew from those experiences.
Oh
I
yeah, big
believed
time.
in myself because of those things. I didn't need to be better to dance for Janet. I was more than good enough to dance for Janet.
Oh
But
yeah.
I still pushed myself to be better because of that.
Oh yeah.
So those are the things you lean into then. When that rejection comes into your environment and you're like, but this is what I was working my whole life for. How could you reject me for it? If you can, like you said, have that perspective shift and just really not rush the universe,
Yeah.
but still allow yourself then to be like you did, still show up, still become better, still grow. You're going to fulfill exactly what you're supposed to fulfill, and it will all come into,
it might not be, it might not be in my card, it's like, Madonna is one of those people that, when I first started in my career, I had a list of all the people I wanted, especially for makeup. Right. I had a list of all the makeup, all the artists that I want to work with, and Madonna was one of them. But her and our path have never crossed. Now, it might in the future, or it might never will.
Right.
And I'm not gonna sit here and go, oh, I didn't do everything I was supposed to do to get it.
That part.
But it's like, it was just meant. It's like, the thing is, don't diminish your accomplishments because of something that you didn't get.
Especially when it's out of your control. And
exactly.
It's easier when you're older to recognize and accept those things. You can't diminish yourself, especially because it's like you've said several times, like, shit, what did I do? It's so easy to go into that space. And we're programmed at such a young age to always have that mentality.
Yeah.
But when you can really kind of look back and joke on it and realize, like, there's so many more moving parts, and sometimes, like you said, it's just not meant to be, and that's okay.
And it's completely fun.
Better. It served you to get great and accomplish so many other things.
Exactly. And that happens all the time also in my makeup career. I did Hit the Floor with Logan Browning, and when Logan got Dear White People, they called me to ask me to department head the show, and I was like, I went in for the interview. I was supposed to meet with 4 producers, only 2 showed up, right? And I was like, okay. I met with the head showrunner and then the line producer. Interview, everything went great. Next, the line producer walked me out the door and said, "Hey, oh my gosh, you're great. I think we're gonna go with you. We're gonna call you agent, and we're gonna yada da 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 da." And next thing you know, I was like, "Oh, great!" I called my agent in the car. It's like, "Hey, we think we just got a job."
Yeah.
Next thing, a week goes by, no calls. I called my agent and I said, "I need you to call and find out what's going on." So they came back with the Hollywood answer. We went another direction. Doesn't matter where you are in your career. They always give you the same bullshit answer. And it's a bullshit answer, so I don't know why. I don't usually get really pissed off or very territorial of any job, but I'm like, that job was mine. I'm supposed to be there at that job. My friend is the number one on the show, and whatever. So I call my agent. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to department head the show right now. I'm not going to key the show. I'm going to be a second, third. I'm going to go day check. Just I don't want to have any responsibility, right? Cut to 2 days later, a friend of mine calls me up and said, "Hey, I need a third for my show, and there's 3 days of work." I'm like, okay. Another friend of mine called me up and it's like, "Hey, we need a fourth on our show. 2 days of work. My week is full," right? And as soon as I started doing that show, I was at Warner Brothers Studio. No, I'm sorry, at Universal Studio, at Universal lot.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone rang. I was like, okay. It was a friend of mine, Kenny Ortega. No, I'm sorry, not Kenny Ortega. Kenny Diaz. Kenny Diaz. Can you imagine Kenny Ortega calling me about makeup?
Yeah, I'm surprised. So that's why I was like, okay.
Kenny Diaz, called me up and he said, "Hey, listen, I'm doing a movie. Joe Harlow and I are doing a movie, and we want to see if you would be interested in coming along with us to do the movie." I was like, okay. Yeah, we're doing a movie called Black Panther. I went, oh shit. Yes, I would love to. Because I had no idea what Black Panther was because I was never a comic person, but I know it was Marvel. So I wanted to work with Marvel.
Yes.
Cut to another day goes by. The next day, I got another call from my girlfriend, Erin Kruger McKesh, and said, "Hey, Tim, I want you to come in and be a third on my show. It's a full-time job. I'm doing a show called Feud." And I was like, wait a minute, is that the Betty Davis and Joan Crawford one? And she was like, yes, I'm doing it. And I was like, wait, I just say yes to 2 totally separate things. Cut to, something happened, Black Panther got pushed. So I was able to do Feud and Black Panther. So at that particular point, to me, the universe says, no, you're not going to get that damn job on Dear White People.
100%.
Because I got some better things for you. And guess what happens? On Feud, that came about. So it sometimes like everything else, it's like you just have to. Sometimes you could get pissed off about it, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, yes, we've been in this industry most of our lives. And there have been more times than I ever expected, and years than I ever expected to not be doing what I anticipated to be doing. You couldn't tell me 10 years ago, 15 years ago that I wasn't already in Marvel, for God's
Mm-hmm.
sakes, right?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet. I will. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's up to you though to keep showing up. I could
Mm-hmm.
have, after Bring It On, have listened to everybody. First of all, it was a time and space. I think that you and I are coming from a minority background and being in the industry back when it wasn't as open as it is now,
Mm-hmm.
and having spaces for us. And during that time, still accomplishing a lot. There
Yeah.
was one spot for people like us. We got that one spot. We were very fortunate.
As being an Asian dancer, literally there was 6 of us.
Right. Yeah.
When I came in, there was 6 of us, and then when you came in, there was maybe 12.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, it's like when I came in, it's like I know exactly what choreographer is going to hire who.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's like if I go to the audition and that person walks in, I'm like, okay, I'm going home because I'm not going to get it. I know, and I know this choreographer likes working with me. This choreographer like working with this person. But you know, and yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like, yeah.
No. Well, that's a part of it too. It's kind of, I think all of that, I think that adversity that we had to face from our upbringing and also just being innately in the body that we are in, we had to figure out how to endure and push past all that stuff. I was laughing because I know that I was that person that walked into a room when a lot of people were like, well, there goes my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that, but because of what we came from,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to be that.
Yeah.
It was that drive and that determination and that never settling for less and never being anything less than great. And if I wasn't great yet, then I was going to keep working until I got great so they couldn't say no.
Mm-hmm.
And from listening to your story, you did that innately, but then on top of that, you just were also just fucking in flow, you know, like you were just, the universe just had your back. But you never just rested and went to sleep on anything. You never gave up.
No, because I know there's a kid behind me that wants my spot.
That part, yeah.
They want my spot, but at the same time, but the thing for me is when I teach class, why am I trying to show off my cleavage?
Maybe show them off.
No, no, but what you got? I have so many kids out there that comes up to me. It's like, Tim, I want a career like yours. I'm like, why? Why do you want a career like mine? Because you're successful. I say, no, you will never ever have a career like mine. You are going to have your own career. Yeah. Okay. And I want you to have a better career than I do. I want you to surpass me. Because right now I'm going downhill. I'm at the age now where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll have 10, 12 years left in working wise. But you know what? So I'd rather kick you up and making sure that you move on. You know, you and you know, it's like and look at me, Brian. I just received another award.
You're not bragging. This is real life.
I received another award, and we were just talking about that. And it's like, you know,
can you tell us what the award was?
The Black Beauty Roster Award, and that's her.
Oh, she was camouflaged. I'm glad you brought it forward.
You know, and we were talking about it, and it's like with the social media aspect of it, you know, it's like sometimes if a new upcoming artist, new upcoming dancer, new upcoming whatever that is your specialty in your skill, if they took the time to DM you, just respond. Take that 2 seconds to respond. You know, and it's like it's funny because I have people going, "Oh my gosh, you actually responded." I'm like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know, hopefully that helps you. You know, and I love when people send me
humility though. Like, how did you? Because this, like, when did like, how'd you step into this?
Like, as far as
you're so humble. Like, you're just so humble. Like no matter where you are, you are.
But but I
Oh,
think
you were doing Janet Jackson. You came to do little old music video. Like, is that just you've always been that kind?
that's how I was raised. That's how it's grew. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like people are like it's like, Tim, you're a celebrity makeup artist. I was like, no, I'm not. Tim.
Yeah. Like you're not us. Like you are the celebrity
No,
makeup
no.
artist.
Tim is a makeup artist that works on celebrities.
There you go. I like that.
I think people put themselves on a pedestal, and sometimes and people likes to put, because of the success that you have in your career, people like to put you on a pedestal. To me, to be a celebrity, that means I could walk down to Southgate and knock on a door, and somebody at that door would know exactly who I am.
Right.
Nobody know who I am. Know me, and and that's to me that I think that's kind of where my mental resides to make it that I'm not, it's like, no, it's like, I know I'm good. I know who I am. Just because I'm not running around going, I'm a celebrity, or I don't look at myself as a celebrity makeup artist or whatever it is, that I'm negating anything of my accomplishments. I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I gotta get this before it falls. I just think that not every, and there's no right or wrong.
No.
You there, but there are a lot of people in your shoes who don't act that way, and so I guess it's just innate. It's just innate that you are just this natural.
But because I think if I act the way that some of my my peers act,
mm-hmm.
I think my mom would come back from the grave and just smack me upside the head.
That part.
And it's like, you're in Hollywood, you're in LA. You literally, you spit down the street and you will hit a celebrity some kind of some sort.
Yeah, especially in the world that we
live in, and it's like, and it's, I'm talking about more self-proclaimed celebrities.
That part.
Not the,
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, hey, and right now with the way the media changes, the world changes, how things are perceived now, and it's like, now Instagram is our portfolio. That we had, like, for me, I used to have a portfolio. Now nobody asks for portfolio anymore. They ask for my Instagram thing, and I'm like, you want to see me eating my food?
You want to see me cook dinner?
Yeah. Okay. You want to see my bunion surgery? I'm like,
yes.
That's kind of like that's the stuff I post. And every once in a while, it's like, oh, here's some work I did. Here's the stuff I did. Whatever. And it's like, and I think a lot of it is like, if you want to know me, just look at my Instagram, because it's all there.
I think it's a difficult place for us, and I'm not saying difficult in the sense that it's. I should say different things. I'm not trying to make it like hard. I'm not trying to make it like arduous, but it's a change of pace. It's a change of perspective and also attitude to adjust and like acclimate to this new way of social media. Because I know personally for me, I wanted my social media to just be as grounded and humble as normal as possible. Because even though I've been a diva most of my life, I've also been extremely nice, like overly nice, overly kind, which is something I realized when I was older, because then I thought I was such a horrible person. And I was like, people actually didn't like you because you were too nice, because they thought you were fake when you were just being really genuinely kind. That's a whole different story. But now, so that's what I wanted my social media to be like. And now, so I still judge myself a little bit when I do start putting my accolades out, but I'm like, oh, that's the only way nowadays people are going to actually know what you do, because that's where they go, and
that became your calling card.
It's a different world. So it's still that fine balance for me personally. I don't know about you, but to just kind of find that balance of trying to be humble and like just normal, and people can see like I'm a person, but then also see like my accomplishments, because you kind of have to, because I'm in this business. It's such a weird place.
But I don't think anybody's trying to be humble. It just innate in you. It's your upbringing. It's your. I think it's like when people say you're so humble, it's like, I don't look at myself as being humble. I'm looking at myself as being me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to be anything. I'm not trying to put up a front for you. I'm not trying to put up a front for anybody. You
100%.
know, this is what you're gonna see, this is what you're gonna get. And that's all there is to it, you know. And I think and and also the other thing is, don't take my niceness as a weakness.
Mhm.
Because I'm still a gay man and I will still read you.
That part. I've said that part a million times. Sorry, but yes, yes.
You know, and it's okay. And it's like, you know, and I'm like, no, it's like I'm gonna, you know, it's like I'll read you, but then I'll love you,
Mhm.
you know.
Some people need to be put in their place.
Yeah. And you know, and it's one of those situations. It's like, you know, it's like, because, you know, it's like, there's like, God, you're so humble. I'm like, sometimes I'm sitting there going, it's like, what does that really mean?
Mm.
You know, are you then I get into my own head. It's like, are you thinking I'm acting this way just because, you know? I'm like, no, this is how I am,
Mhm.
you know,
I was
take it or
listening
leave
to
it.
someone today, and they basically were like, and it's his real life. It's easy, obviously, but like, if you keep trying to make everybody like you, you're trying to. It's Mission Impossible.
You can't.
You
You
can't.
can't.
You,
You,
that my 20s though, in my teens, that was my goal. Just make everyone like me. Just make, and I think that was like a downfall for
but
somebody.
I think in that, when we at that age is kind of wanting to be accepted.
That, yeah. Well, and
It's
also
what,
be accepted because of who we are as people, as gay
yeah,
men, and
yeah.
being in the industry where you can't be yourself. And then from our families and the generations that we grew up in, all that stuff, there was so much more in our time, and even in your time, where it was like just yearning to be seen, accepted, and loved, and just be like, yes, there's going to be space for you. There's space for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like there's people. It's always funny to me. It's like people is like, you know, trying to find a seat at that table. I'm like, if you ain't got a seat, I'll get me another table. I'll start my own table.
Yep.
I'll start my own damn table. I don't need you to be at your table to make sure that I get what I need and what I want.
Mhm.
I'll find my like-minded people and
Mhm.
put a table together.
And
You
I
know,
will want to sit at this table, and I will enjoy eating with these people at this table.
exactly. I don't need to be. I
I'm
don't need
alive.
to.
I want to enjoy my life.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people trying to fit into that whatever society, quote unquote, society norm is, and society norm is boring. Let's just be realistic about it.
It really is, and it takes a while for society to adjust, and there can be repercussions because of it, and that's why a lot of people play the part and live in
Uh-huh.
the societal structure and are very successful still.
Yeah.
Um, but I think people like us, we'd rather get rejected and make our own table and have that table be something that is going to be welcoming to other people that weren't able to sit at those other tables one day, more than sitting at that table because that's where everyone is sitting.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's like, for me, being at this age now, there's a few rules for me. I don't want to be where I'm not happy.
Mhm.
I don't want to be anywhere I'm not wanted. I don't want to be anywhere I'm tolerated.
Ooh,
That's my three rules.
I love that.
That's my three rules. I don't, if I'm not happy, if you're not willing to pay me what I'm worth and I get that check and I'm not happy, I don't want to be there. You
You've,
know?
but you've earned that.
You know,
That's
and me saying that, I know my privileged. I know I'm privileged because of the achievements that I have, where basically I could say something and people will listen to it. You know, where you know, it's like right now, it's like with the whole strike situation, and when people talk to me about what's affecting them on the strike, sometimes I have to go, oh yeah, you know, sometimes I have to remind myself that's not where they are in their career and where I'm in my career is two different places, and what I'm able to command or ask for, they cannot do it yet. You know, and that's the thing. So
yet
therefore,
keyword. If you yet being the key word, I think, right?
yeah,
Like you were there at one point, and
we were all there at one point,
yes.
and we have to figure out how to get up from that get away from that point. But also at the same time, it's also my job as somebody with that privilege to go, okay, I need more money for my crew. My crew needs this. My crew needs that. And it's like, if there's an issue, I take care of my crew. I make sure I go talk to the producers about this is our needs. And that's I think a lot of people haven't learned that yet, because I think when you sit at that table, you're so much trying to please the people that was already there at that table. But when you create your own table, you have your own value and you have your own worth. Then you're willing that at that point, and you're able to go and as a choreographer, you look at choreographers, okay? You look at choreographers, you look at everybody, like so many freaking talented choreographers out there. And then all of a sudden it's like Ryan Heffington.
Totally.
He decided he's going to create his own lane.
Totally.
He decided he's going to put himself at a different table than everybody else.
He sure did.
And
he decided that a long time ago.
A long time ago. Baba Carr was the original one.
Baba Carr
was the one that started
putting the table together, no doubt.
Yeah.
Shout out to Baba Carr. He'll probably listen. Hi, Bubba.
Hi, Bubba. And you have to give the credit on that. And it's like, because he created that lane. And Bubba is working as choreographers up in Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah.
And I love seeing that, is because what he was doing doesn't fit into what the quote unquote table is. So he started his own lane, and now they're all clamoring up to him to get him to do the projects. Now throwing it back into the choreography, and that was such a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah,
it's like I think I've known Ryan since he was 16 years old, when he used to come to Tremaine for his scholarship from dance conventions, And all I remember is, like, every time I think of Ryan, is like his turns. He turned like a little top, know. Yep. And that was that. And it was like, but I just love to see the successes that he has. All the stuff that he's been doing,
Likewise. Yeah. He's a prime example of creating your own table.
Yeah.
Building your own table, and people will come sit at it because they'll see it and see how beautiful it is, and how like they are drawn to it because he's being authentic. You can't build a table that is just going to be boring and plain and that looks like every other table because you want to fit in.
I mean, you look at the choreography nowadays. It's like everybody looks exactly the same.
I don't look at choreography these days, so I don't know.
I love watching it. It's like, okay, all right. You claim that as your own now, huh? It's like, do you remember back in the days when?
Totally.
Okay.
Right.
And hey,
we all learn from the past. That's how we all gain our inspiration to be in ourselves. So if you can't acknowledge that,
yeah,
there's a little something off. Yeah.
I'm an ego, and whatever.
Right.
Whatever. That's
when we read the kids, though.
That's their problem. That's not my problem. Totally. It's a you problem, not a me problem. And that's the thing. And I like, as far as dancers, I love watching the dancers nowadays, because the facilities that they have,
like Olympic athletes.
I never had that. I was like, if I could whip out 4 pirouettes, I'm like, honey, if I could pull 3, a triple, and literally stay on releve, I'm great.
Right.
And it was like literally, like, my butt mom, my left leg goes to here, my right leg goes to
yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm fine with that, but it's just funny. It's like, the facility of dancers nowadays is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But hey, there were studio trained since they were babies, so.
Yeah, and speaking of all of that, for someone like yourself to just stumble into the right studio, um, and not just stumble in, like, I don't want to say you were just lucky, like I had Kevin Tantarone on, and he's, I think, coming up in a couple episodes, and that he might be my next episode I'm releasing this week. But
My little Thai brother.
so say your fellow Thai brother, he was. I would say a lot of he's like, you were lucky, like a lot of luck, like you, just luck. But he also shows up every time, just like you, So it's things people can be lucky, and I think it's hard for people to kind of compare and contrast, especially in an industry, because, like, I'll tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, you're an actor, you're in the entertainment industry." People look at me crazy every time I say that. I'm like, it's so hard to try to explain myself this day and age because people don't get it, like they're like. They don't realize I've been doing this for over 30 years professionally. So they don't know my work of art, like, at least they're not aware of it. But like people, if I tell them, when you're not born into it, or if you don't come from money, you're going to meet people like me who have been doing it for a really long time, have had a million ups and downs, and are still pursuing what they love to do.
And it's like, it's, and I think, I remember one year that Martina McBride, I believe, won AMA, American Music Award, or something like that, for Best New Artist. She got on stage and she started laughing. She was like, I have been doing this for over 20 years, and now I'm a Best New Artist. And I believe it was Martina, but I could be wrong. But it was somebody in the country world. And, and it's like, you see that picture of the little peak above the water of the ice thing. Exactly. And then when you look below the water, there's just a lot of stuff that is built up.
It's the Himalayas.
And, yeah. And it's like, and that's every one of our stories is like, we did all of that. We done all of that. We literally is like we
are so lucky.
We are. And
we don't ever take it for granted. I think that's a part of it. Like, we never take it for granted, and we continue to show up because we're so lucky to do what we love.
Exactly. And it's like, if I don't love it, I stop. If I don't love it, and
let's take a break.
Yeah, I'll go find something else. And I'm okay with it, and that's why I think people were like, how are you with the strike? I said, honey, if I need to go work at Costco because of the strike, I got no problem doing that.
Right.
I got no problem doing that. The ego is not there. And it's like, and it's like, I need to do what I need to do to take care of myself and my family. That's all there is to it, and I think a lot of people don't see it that way anymore. They're like, because I know people who are like, oh, I went and got a job at Costco, but I got a job at Costco all the way in Thousand Oaks. I'm like, but you live in Van Nuys. Why did you go? Well, I don't want people to see me. I was like, check yourself on that one.
I'm guilty of that. I get it. Sometimes it's not everyone. I wish I was as strong as you in that sense.
Because it's like, I'm saying, so now you're paying freaking $7 a gallon to go all the way out there.
If that's going to bring them peace of mind,
I said no. It's like one of those things.
My
whole thing. You do what make you happy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes you need to check your ego out the door, and it's like, and that's for me is the, not judging you. You do what you need to do. 100%. You do what you feel that you need to do.
That part.
But
it's not fun. It's not fun to be a waiter or a bartender at a thing, and people recognize you from being the lead in the film, and then being like, "What are you doing here?" And you see it a lot. It's so, it's like me. If I have to get in hospitality, I won't do it in Los Angeles ever again.
Yeah.
Hopefully when this strike is over, I'll get that series regular I've been working my whole life for, and I'll get that Marvel thing for a couple years or there, because I put the energy into it, and that can really be a thing. But if I would have to get into the hospitality industry, I couldn't do it in Los Angeles. I would go to Thousand Oaks. I'd even move to fucking Vegas and spend $5 on rent, make a lot of money. But it's just in LA, it's just unfortunately, it's just hard, especially if if you've been in front of the camera. I don't know who these people are talking about. If they've
Oh
been
no, I was talking behind the camera, behind the
Oh
camera.
yeah,
People.
I
I
think
was like, come on.
yeah.
That's why I'm like, come on, really? Nobody
Yeah.
knows you. And it's like
Yeah.
and it's one of those situations. I'm like, we are all in the same freaking shoes right now. Right now, what's going on with SAG and AFTRA and the writers and whatever else,
People should understand anything now.
it
Yes.
everything is leveled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no hierarchy right now. Everything is leveled out. Nobody got a job.
I'm
Nobody got, you know.
working. I'm really lucky though. I'm one of the few, like I'm doing dubbing right now for a series regular that I'm on my second season for. I did a national Cadillac commercial 2 weeks ago. Like I am so grateful because I'm not disillusioned to realize that like I know I am part of like 1 or 2% right now because it is nothing going on.
And one thing I also tell people, the one thing I'm telling people right now too is like, don't forget, Teamsters negotiations next year. So it's IATSE, which means that's everybody that is a crew.
Yeah.
We're all negotiation next year. So I said, if you make your money now, collect your coins,
save,
and that's that. And hopefully it doesn't have to go.
Hopefully they can just give what they deserve. And I want to go back before I forget, because it's that thought that's been in my head. It's like, you are such the prime example of this takes a team. Mm-hmm. It takes an empire. People get so lost in the sauce of just always putting their attention, I get it, to like the celebrity and the star of it, but they don't recognize that without people like you, they're not there. And so even the strike situation, I'm so happy that like if they need to go on strike, that they do, because everything we're fighting for isn't going to exist without everybody else that it takes. It takes a empire to create something so small. And I think we are in that day and age where everybody needs to fucking be appreciated because they deserve it.
And that's what it is. It's like I'm like, it just need to be like our negotiation that's coming up for me. It really not going to affect a certain group of us because we're already getting paid above scale. We have our quotes. We have our
resume.
Our resume. We already have our kind of like our riders of what we get and things like that. We already have that standards already. So everything that we're gonna get is just a little sprinkle. It's like a cake. Our cake is structured. Our frosting is already done. We already have a certain...
You even have some sprinkles and a cherry on top. Yeah.
Yeah. We have all that, but now it's just we're gonna add a little more sprinkle and a little more thing. But it's like one thing I was telling some of the kids today, is like, this is for you guys. This is for you guys. This is actually to deal with you. That actually we need to bring you guys up, and that's what this is about. I think and I think there's gonna be a lot of time. I think people are gonna be scared because we've been out of work for so long already. Yeah. That people are gonna go, well, we can't afford to be out of work again next year. It's like, well, if you don't, then you got to see what you're willing to give or take. It's like, then you're gonna get your 3% raise that you normally get, and then you're gonna complain about the 3% because it's not living into a living standard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. and that's what it is. And
it all needs to be adjusted, especially with the climate that the world is in, when inflation and everything being $1 trillion just to even breathe. Like, these companies are the companies that make the most money of any other company in the world, essentially. Almost, they're up there with the ones that make the most. And it's not that much for them to have to give just for people, especially because the people that we're talking about, us people, we show up all the time so hard and so much. It would just be nice to just kind of be
appreciated.
That part, you said it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't give me an empty appreciation. Give me appreciation.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like I need to be appreciated. No, it's just like, can we get some appreciation? You know,
So that's all. Just a thank you every now and then. Maybe give your crew tickets to the premiere.
something. Come on. Like
I'm like,
seriously.
really? Come on. It's like one of the studios I worked with, I was a personal on one film, and I was the department head on the other one. There were no premiere tickets. I know that sounds very superficial, but
No, it doesn't.
when you have friends of people that never step a foot on a set
To watch the premiere.
to watch the premiere of the movie, or because I don't have 100,000 or 2 million followers.
Correct.
I'm like,
That's yeah. Or at least I mean,
exactly.
Marvel, if they don't give you a premiere ticket, you're gonna be my date.
Yeah, I'm good with Marvel. I'm good with Marvel, but I'll be your date anyways.
Okay. Well, we hit an hour and 30, and I feel like I keep talking for like 5 hours, but okay.
I'm good with continuing. So if you want to continue, and you can want to edit later on.
Well, maybe we'll come because personally, I'm like, when people look at the time, I'm like, will they even listen this whole time? So it's like, let's come back and keep talking if you ever have time to come back.
No, definitely.
Because I just enjoy talking to you so much.
Yeah, I know it's been so long since we talked.
Yeah. So if we were to wrap it up here in some space for now,
mm-hmm.
and you could put into perspective in one word how rejection has made you who you are today, what would that word be?
Survive.
Tell me more.
Because I think rejection, I don't look at rejection as a bad thing.
Totally. You're in the right place.
I don't look at rejection as a bad thing. It's, to me, again, it's their loss. It's not my loss.
Mm-hmm.
It's their own loss. It's like they were so stupid that they didn't want me. And with the rejection, it makes me want to push harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with the rejection, it wants to make me survive even longer. And it wants me to make sure that the next time I walk into that door with that person, they're not going to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, rejection is never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. It's a bad thing for them because they're idiots, but it's not my fault.
Leave it to the end for him to come out and be like, look, let's be real.
Uh-huh.
There's, I think there's a lot of power in that. And from the beginning, we talked about it, right? It's not your ignorance is bliss in some space, but it does feed into that. It's kind of like, it's more not ignorance, but it's more like you're knowing your worth is bliss, like knowing your worth is bliss at this point in your life. Like the ignorance served itself because it was like, then I wasn't aware of all the things that if I was aware of, maybe I wouldn't have been able to mentally handle it.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like awareness is bliss, right?
Yeah. Knowing your worth is bliss. Knowing what you bring to the table is bliss.
Yeah.
Knowing that they cannot do what they need to do without you is bliss.
Yeah, because only you can bring that, and that's not an egotistical thing. It's
not because it's like I could hire 5 different I could get 5 different makeup artists, the same exact makeup kit, the same exact brush, and we have a quince. Is it quince? Is 5, right? Like 5 set of twins, like 5 twins, the people that look exactly alike. And I would do a demonstration on the 6th person that looked exactly like those people. And I showed them how I want it done and showed them exactly step by step to do it. I would still get 5 different variations of that makeup because nobody is going to be able to do what you do. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it's like people are like, why? How come you're so easy to give out information and teach and things like that. I was like, because what is it going to do? It's like when I retire, it's going to go away.
Yeah.
Why should it go away? Why shouldn't I pass it along to somebody else? You know, so that's that. I know that is, it's like, and
You got
and
you got to keep giving, because if you're scared to give, if that's coming from like a lack mentality in that space of being like they're going to take your job. I think what people do in this business especially, and I think in life overall and in general, is that you don't think that there's enough for everybody, and there really is enough for everybody. It's just your perspective, and if you're coming at it from a lacking energy, you're
mm-hmm.
going to get things because you're not showing the universe that you're open to it.
Exactly. And also the whatchamacallit, it's like one thing people always asking me is like, so why do you hire V. Neal? She's like a 6-time Oscar-winning makeup artist, 5-time Oscar-winning makeup artist, to come and day play. Why do you hire this person? This person been nominated for an Oscar. This person, da 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 da. And I'm like, why? Why are you asking that question? It's like, aren't you afraid they're going to take your job? And they're like, no. Why should I be afraid to take my job, for them to take my job? Let me put it to you this way. If I wasn't doing my job, if I was doing my job properly and doing my job right, it's not going to give any reason for those producers to look for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to be looking for somebody else. If the producers actually took my job away and gave it to one of my friends, it's because I wasn't doing something right for them to start looking at somebody else.
Or that was a seasonal change for them, and the universe was trying to open the doors for something else for you.
That could be it too. And also the other thing in life is like, you look at it and you go, people's like, I truly believe in this, because it's like, you know what? I feel like your friends and your family, your friends more so than anything else, or people that you surround yourself with, comes into your world to teach you a certain lesson. And maybe once that lesson is taught, that's when they go away. Because it's like, you have people that you have a falling out with, and you look at the falling out as like, oh my gosh, it was like, no. Right. Maybe they already taught what you were supposed to do. They already been brought to teach you a certain lesson, and that lesson is already taught. Mm-hmm. So now it's time for them to go away and bring somebody else in to start, God, I'm getting really, really philosophical at my old age.
Yeah, great. We love that. No, it's so true. And I just think it's all perspective, and it's really that perspective that can really shift you into being a successful human being.
Yeah.
Living and also like in your craft and work and in relationships, and not that everybody is coming in and like I'm saying, and you're not saying this either, but some people might have this thought, because everyone thinks differently, that like, oh, well, you're saying that it's easy to have a friend that can just fulfill the needs and go, and then you don't need. No, sometimes you literally just vibrationally match at this place,
at this particular point,
and one of you go like this, and then that's just, you're not there anymore. Like I believe like we're all just moving around and we're touching each other. We do, and that's all it needs to be, and all it is. But it's so much more, and it's not a negative thing, and it's not to put anyone down. And it's just the way of life. If you want to make it negative and you want to make all those things, that's your choice.
and it's not in me saying that, it's not a negative thing. It's just like, when people talk about how it's like you only have one soulmate your whole life, wrong. Yeah. I don't agree with that.
Right.
I feel that you have different soulmates at different part of your life, and if you just happen to find that soulmate at that one particular point that stays with you throughout the whole thing, you're one of the luckiest son of a bitch.
That part. Yeah. And I mean, all my friends are like, my closest friends are my soulmates.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Like, because like, I think like in terms of soulmate, it's like a soul mate. Like it's a mate, meaning like it's a long-term, it's longevity. It's not someone who's going to come in and you're going to part after you meet and you met. you're gonna continue to keep like,
you keep on it's just like one of those things, like, you have friends that you haven't seen in years,
Mhm.
and then when you see each other, you pick up like you never left.
Yep.
You pick up right where you left off the last time that you that you, to me, that's a soulmate. That's and you know it's just one of those situations. Sometimes you just got to go, okay, I'm gonna I'm just gonna give in to the it's I have, like I said, one of the things, like, I had a friend who literally, she came in at the beginning of my career, and then all of a sudden we just fade out. And when she came in, it was just like, oh my gosh, we were teaching each other different things. And then after a certain point, it's like her life changed, my life changed, so we part way. So it's not like a big crash. It's just like you just grow apart, and that's all that is. But yeah,
Did at any point in time do you think you did something wrong? Did it take you
it it
to take
you
work and for you to like move past up to realize like it was as simple as what you said it is?
it took me a minute. It did. It hurt.
Yeah.
It took me a minute, and then when I remember, one thing I did was this: I would text them every so often and just say, "Hey, how you doing? Just checking up on you." Da 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 da. And I remember scrolling through my text messages. You know how, like, you get all the response from previously, right? And this is before the new Apple, where you could delete the messages. So so pretty much, I remember looking through it, and I was like, huh. The past 20 messages, I was the one who initiated the conversation. And some were answered, some were not. And I said, you know what? To have a good relationship, to have a good friendship, you can have the good relationship, period. It's two-way street. And
Yes.
if I'm the only one that's driving towards you and you're not reciprocal, then I'm good. I think at that point I went, okay,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and 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 she did a movie that I thought that she should have been nominated for an Oscar a couple years ago, and I literally went to bat for her because of the work quality. And she called and she thanked me for doing that, but that was it. It wasn't anything more than that. And it's like, do I still have love in my heart for that person? Definitely, definitely. And that's what it is. It's like, it just you just grew apart. That's all.
Yeah. I had a friend, I was best friends with somebody for 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And we haven't been friends for over 10 years now.
Hmm.
And she's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
I see her everywhere, thriving, and just like your friend you're talking about, famous and doing well. And I was in the same position as you, where it was like, I wonder if, you know, point is when it's just not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But you can definitely go into those thoughts of like self-analysis to like, how could I have been better? What can I do better to grow so that when the next friendship comes in, you can just be a little more true and genuine to yourself, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that doesn't mean that next friendship's going to last forever. It could just be a season, or it could be forever.
Yeah.
Which is all,
You never know. You just ride that wave. Wherever that wave want to break, then that's when it breaks.
yeah.
You
I,
know.
it took a lot of someone like myself, at least, throughout like the years. It was, I don't know where. I mean, I do know where it comes from. We're not going to get into it now, but it's just that always like, what am I doing wrong? How did you wrong? How did you do this? That always that self-deprecation of like,
Well, we all do that. Just like when the producers when the management asked me to come in to meet with them, I was like, first thing you go is the negative thing. It's like, oh my gosh, what it is like, and one of the things I on a project that I did, and I remember the producer has notes for hair, for costume, for everybody, but there was no notes for makeup. And then I was like, I went to the producer, like, I went to what with the other producer. I was like, I didn't get any notes. He was like, you don't want notes. You don't want notes. And I was like, and I went, oh, okay. So it was like, so I kind of take that to heart now. It's like I have my, like one of my like teammates, some a team, artists that works with me on the shows, and they're like, but Tim never say anything about my makeup. And they would go to the assistant department head and said that it's like, honey, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't want Tim to come up to you and
Yes.
about your makeup. You want Tim to come up to you. He's like, hey, how you doing? How's your weekend? You don't want Tim to go, hey, we got to talk about the makeup.
Yeah.
So I think that it just always that's always funny to me. It's like, again, it goes back to wanting to be accepted.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and there was definitely not much space in our timelines to actually be able to like really feel confident and lean into that without doing the work we've done now to being able to sit in acceptance. That's
yeah.
And I have to say, because I've been wanting to say this whole time, these people, whoever is in your camp, in your crew, working underneath you and just learning from you, they are some lucky individuals.
Yeah, well, and the whole thing for me is like, nobody works for me. Everybody works with me.
And there you go, even more. Like that is what everyone. That's what you want to hear. From your superior. You want to say you're working with me, not for me. Yeah, like that in itself. You just proved my point again, Tim.
And because it takes a team. It takes such a huge team about it. And it's like when I hate reading articles when I see the head of the department said, I did this, I did that. I'm like, no, you didn't. I was there. I was helping you out. I was there. I saw who did what.
Trust me.
But at the same time, it's like I think a lot of time, a lot of artists don't get the proper due that they get. That's the same thing. You look at a concert. You go to a concert. The main choreographer is the one who's always going to get the credit. Like the other associate choreographers never get the credit.
Yeah, I got
especially back in the day
for associate. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially back in the day.
It's so funny. I'm not going to put them on blast because there's nothing to put them on blast for. They know who they are. And I love them. But yeah, it was like when they were like, we got you an associate choreographer credit. Literally in my head, I was like, what? Why are you acting like you just did me a favor?
Yeah.
I was a part of this thing the whole time, doing, if not as much more than you this whole time.
And it's usually the
choreographer credit.
Yeah, and usually the people that are the quote unquote assistant, the associate, or the works 50,000 a time harder than you are. Like my crew works extremely hard.
And it's not that's why we're hired. We're hired to do that. But don't downplay us and act like, like you did me a favor. It's just typical Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, no,
that,
it's like,
but they still have an issue sharing. I think they're not. I think people aren't as here I'm trying to catch myself and not get in trouble. But as generous as you, and I think it's really important to be that generous because I think it's indicative then of what you're putting into the world as a human being. And more than ever, it is really important that we are really conscious of what we're putting into this world.
We do, especially nowadays with everything that's going on. So,
thank you.
No problem, honey.
I literally could talk to you all night. Are you going to be in town when everything opens up? Or are you heading back out? Are you heading back to somewhere to shoot the next something?
Well, the one that I want, which I can't talk about yet, is here.
Okay.
The one I want is here, and I'm hoping. There's a little wrench in it right now, and it's not because of the work, because it's the relationship I have with somebody. So there's a little wrench in it right now. So that one there is like
TBD.
Then there's another show that's supposed to go to New Mexico.
That sounds amazing.
So we'll see what happens with that. Right now, I'm a free bird. I have no idea what I'm doing next.
All of that again. Thank you
No
so much for
problem.
coming in, like, for being you. Really, I don't know what else I can say besides just for being you. Thank you.
No, thank you for being you.
Thank you.
You know.
And to everybody listening to this, thank you for listening. This is my longest one, but it's definitely worth it. Your ears were feasting on one of the most knowledgeable, intelligent, wise people that I've been able to come in contact with this industry. And now I'm not calling him old, but I kind of am.
I'm old.
And that's a good thing. The whole time,
I'm wise. I'm
literally the whole
seasoned.
time being like, at a certain age and wise, I'm just going to absorb everything that he is saying. Not that I didn't absorb it this whole time that I knew you, but I'm in a different space and time in my life as I am maturing and growing. So it's fun to just hear you again in this space. And
well, and it's also right now you're listening at a different stage in your career, in your life.
Yeah.
And our ears opens up differently in different stages of our life.
Yeah. So thank you.
No problem at all.
I love you so much.
I love you too, Ben.
And we'll be in touch. And everybody, thanks for listening. And then we'll see you next time.
Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, go get rejected. He's proof. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Tim. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. But most importantly, go out there today and get rejected, you beautiful rejects. I am Gustavo Victor Carr, and this is Rejection and Reflection. Until next time.